Thank you. Ambassador, we began this session this morning with a moment of remembrance for those who have sacrificed their lives defending Ashraf, and I would like to ask, because of my friends in Ashraf who are watching right now, and I say hello to you, my dear friends in Ashraf, I want to honor you today by asking all of us to stand and support our friends in Ashraf who are resisting even today. How many of you have a brother or a sister, a mother, father, a relative in Ashraf? Would you raise your hand? You see, this, we're all part of that family. And I joined that family in 2004. Now, a lot of wonderful things have been said today, very well articulated strategies and great things. But I stand here today with a different perspective. I'm not looking at this issue from the diplomatic side or from the military side or the State Department, Republican, Democrat. I'm looking at it from the standpoint that these are my friends that I served and protected in 2004. When I arrived in Ashraf in 2004, I didn't go as a volunteer. I was sent there by your government and mine, the United States Army, to protect and support the people of Ashraf. And when I arrived in Baghdad as a soldier, no one knew much about Ashraf. I had never heard of it. It was all news to me. They told me this is a dry spot out in the desert you're going to. And so I remember it was nighttime, and we had our convoy of Humvees. Sadly, maybe some of the same Humvees that we saw in this video. We made our way to this dry desert spot, and within 20 or 30 miles, I noticed a bright glow in the night. And I asked the people that I was riding with, what are all those lights? They said, oh, that's Ashraf. It was a great shining city. It certainly was no dry spot in the desert, but rather it was an oasis, a beautiful city with boulevards and trees and stadiums and soccer fields and stages for performing arts and music and universities and schools and mosques and hospitals, 2 hospitals, a women's hospital, a men's hospital. It was a great city. And I told my soldiers that I served with, you are in the most beautiful place in Iraq. You're also in the safest place in Iraq because we are here doing our job protecting the people of Ashraf. Well, I left at the end of my time there. I was there during what I call the Great Investigation. I don't know what anybody else calls it, but it was when members of the State Department, the Justice Department, the FBI, the CIA, they call them, I learned all kinds of new terms over there, OGA. You all know what OGA means, other government agencies. That means everybody else except me. They were there by the hundreds. I was in charge of the health care of the people of Ashraf and of our soldiers as well. And I remember those many months of that intense investigation. I spent many hours with the Americans, the OGAs, but I also spent many hours every day with the people of Ashraf. And I remember at the end of the investigation, there was such great frustration on the part of the investigators because they could not find one person that they could grab and take back and charge as a terrorist. Well, I left at the end of my tour, and those of you who are watching in Ashraf, if you remember right, I made you some promises. I left Ashraf, and I remember, here I am a colonel, highest ranking person in that entire FOB, now they call it a forward operating base. And I'm supposed to be the tough leader. I'm the colonel, and I had tears in my eyes, actually streaming down my cheeks, because I was sad to leave these good people. But you know what? I thought, I won't worry because my soldiers are going to be here. My government will continue to protect them. It was signed in ink. General after general after general had recommitted to this. Our government had committed to this. Surely they'll be okay. And little did I know that someday in the future, our own soldiers, our own government would turn their backs and walk away from Ashraf and say to the Iraqis, here, bring it on. And they did. You saw what's been happening, April 8th. I made a promise to you in Ashraf, to my friends in Ashraf, if you remember. I promised you that I would go back to the United States and I would continue to support and defend and do everything I could for your cause. Because it's our cause, my cause. And you know that I paid my own way. I've done everything I could. I've put my career on the line because I'm still in the Army. I'm still a colonel. I'm not retired. I'm a reservist. The nice thing about being a reservist is when I have this on, I can say anything I want. But I still go on active duty. I still serve my country. And you know what? Though I am embarrassed and saddened, and yes, even ashamed, that we have walked away, it's not too late. We have tremendous leaders here, great men of influence and stature. What an unbelievable room and a table to sit at with people like this. I believe we can prevail. So it's not too late. Stop the siege of Ashraf. Maliki, stop the siege of Ashraf. Number two, allow medical teams to go in and care for the wounded and injured. And Governor Dean, you're a doctor. I invite you, let's go. Let's go take care of the people of Ashraf. Number three, protect Ashraf. I asked for the United Nations to set up a permanent presence there, UNAMI to set up a permanent presence to protect the people of Ashraf, and for the United States military to send a force back to do what they have said they were supposed to be doing all along, and which I did. That's number three. Number four, guess what? This is a simple one. Number 1, 2, and 3 takes us somebody doing something. Number 4, it takes one decision maker. Delist the MEK. And then finally, I thought I was the one that had come up with this idea. For years, we've been trying to get the MEK off the terrorist list, the FTO list. I said to my friends here in Washington a few months ago, I said, look, we need to start looking beyond the delisting and talk about, we need to promote, we need to encourage and support and collaborate. You know, it's not just getting them out of their hole and being neutral. We need to say, you're part of us, we're with you. The people of Ashraf, the MEK, are just not, they're certainly not terrorists. Terrorists are all around them and across the border, of course. But the people of Ashraf, the people of the MEK, are our friends, they're our colleagues, they're our collaborators. They are people who love freedom and a democratic way of life. We need to support them. Finally, to my friends in Ashraf, I want to make my final comments to you. I've made some promises to you, which I've tried my best to keep, but I've made a final promise to you, and I've reminded you of this many times. I talk to you almost weekly by telephone. I've talked to you in the middle of the siege. I know the tremendous trials you're facing, and I will continue this great fight with you. But I made a final promise to you, and that is that I would return to see you someday. And I said, if you remember, if not in Ashraf, I will see you in a free and democratic Tehran.